All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video leading up to the 9th season for the Walking Dead television series. In this one, we're going to give our thoughts on where we think Dwight is, how come he wasn't in the trailer at all. Oh man, so I thought this would be a good one to start with today, and it'll give us a little bit of a break from all the discussion about whether or not Rick is going to die in season 9, because, you know, since Friday, or really it was Thursday, you know, we've just been discussing that like crazy. And it's still something, it's still the topic for discussion because nobody can agree. I mean, we'll do that tomorrow. We'll do a poll and see what you guys think, because I want to understand where you guys are at on that one. But we'll do that tomorrow. We'll leave that for the next video. In this one, we'll start things off giving our thoughts on Dwight and what we think we'll see from him in season 9, if we see Austin Emilio return at all as Dwight. So that's a big question, whether or not he's going to return. He's not in the trailer, period, at all, so far as we can tell, unless he's a whisper or something and he's hidden in one of those walker groups or herds that we get to see in the trailer. He's basically not in it. So the question came in from Josh Berry, who said, Q&A Trev, what about Dwight? No one is talking about how Rick's death may be to set up the return of Dwight. The only way Daryl and Dwight can coexist is through Rick's death. Dwight will take his comic arc of running the militia. Daryl will lead, and they will still have the tension that is between Rick and Dwight in the comics. So a nice fan theory there from Josh, but it brings up a good question, which is, you know, where is Dwight? Now, I don't think that, you know, really you would use Rick's death as any kind of motivation for any character, right? I think that Rick's death would be such a huge event that I don't think you would do it for Dwight in any way, shape, or form, no matter what. You know, so I don't like that idea that you would use it to do something for Dwight. No, I don't think that really it would be worth it, right? The cost involved would be like, no, there's just no way. But it brings a good question of where is Dwight in the trailer, and what's going to happen with him going on in the future of the series, and whether or not we'll even see him. Likewise goes for Sherry. I like the theory, or I like the idea that after Daryl tells Dwight to get lost, eventually he somehow, you know, in those couple of years, finds his way into the Whispers. You know, I think that makes a lot of sense. Let's say Daryl tells him, you know, never come back. What he told him in season 8, or what did he say? He'd kill him, that kind of thing. So Dwight leaves, right? And then, you know, gets into some trouble, maybe runs out of food or is not doing well. And then at some point, he finds the Whispers, so he decides to join them. I think that could be really cool, because that could give you a point of view character in the Whispers that we're familiar with. And I think that's important. I think it's important to have a character point of view that we are not, you know, we know who they are, but we haven't, you know, we're not just following some unknown character as part of the Whisperers, where we're getting to see their story. We'd actually be getting to see their story through the eyes of Dwight and or Sherry. And that could work out well as well, too, if Sherry had joined the Whispers prior. The only question about it is, and the same thing with Corey Hawkins, who played Heath in the television series, we don't know if Heath is ever going to return to The Walking Dead at all. We just don't know if they're going to do that or not. So I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't return at all, because he's had other projects he's doing, movies and whatnot, and TV series. So, you know, as a result, the role of doing something like Heath might be beneath him now, or maybe, you know, unless he really wants to do it, he could probably find other movies to work on and other projects that would probably be more lucrative for him to do. So for that reason, I think, you know, we probably won't see Heath back again. If we were going to see him, we probably would have already seen him. So at this point, it's sounding like we might not see Heath at all, but maybe Dwight and Sherry are the characters you use to introduce the Whisperers and for us to get to see their side of things. That could be really cool, especially if you ran into Daryl and he kind of says to him something like, man, you really should have killed me now, right? If he goes back the other way and he becomes the villain or something, you know, it could be cool, man, because he might, you know, at this point, it's kind of back and forth, right? So at first, of course, with Dwight, he was not really an ally, but he was kind of neutral with Daryl. Then he steals his stuff. And then, of course, he's pretty much a full-on villain with the in season 6, second half with the Saviors. And then, of course, he kind of flip-flops back, and he's on the side of the survivors to overthrow Negan. So he's on that side. But then it would make sense to me, since Daryl exiled him, maybe he goes the other way. And at this point now, he's faithful to the Whispers, because he did put his life on the line for the survivors as an inside man during all that war, and they did not really thank him for that. If anything, they didn't kill him, but at the same time, they kicked him out. They exiled him totally, so he cannot have anything to do. He did all this work, and he put his life on the line, and the thanks he got was basically being kicked out and not being killed, right? So that's not a great deal either. So I could see if he was a Whisperer now that he'd really want to maybe get revenge on Daryl, because he basically sacrificed all that time during all that war for them, put himself in harm's way, and having Negan almost kill him just to be kicked out by Daryl. But I do like this kind of idea where you're looking at, for Josh, you're looking at the comic series counterparts of these two characters and seeing how could that fit if you had both Daryl and Dwight alive in the series at the same time. So we'll see. But as well with Dwight too, I wouldn't be surprised if they just left him, they omitted him, going forward. Like they just say, okay, he's out there somewhere, whatever, and that's it. He's done in the show. So I hope we will see him back again, because I think in season 8 he redeemed himself quite a bit, and it could be cool to see him as a Whisperer. But if you do it, you kind of have to make him a villain, I think, at this point. So I don't know. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys think about that first question. The next one comes from Rick Heinberry, who says, that makes sense if there is a second 4 or 5 year time jump in season 9, there could be a movie or separate series. During that time, half the people on The Walking Dead aren't in the comics now anyway. Who knows? I sure don't. So that's a big question there as well too, right? That was kind of spoiler news a few weeks ago to a month ago, I think, is that apparently there's a 2-year time skip going into the season. Now, it was also kind of spoiled there that apparently there's a second time skip before the mid-season finale. Now that's really weird. So you go 2 years ahead at the start, and I've done a video giving my thoughts on this already too, and then you would go another 5 years or 4 years after. So that'd be an equivalent of like 7 years worth of time skips, and 2 of which in the same season, which is just really strange. So that's where I kind of rejected the idea at first. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense at all. But if you do a second time skip, you could really change up the characters a lot. You could really have it be a new beginning, even more than we would have expected. And then if Rick is either killed off, okay, it'll give you kind of a fresh start on things, or maybe I don't know, maybe he isn't killed off and he leaves somewhere, and then they go ahead in the Walking Dead series. The Walking Dead continues on one timeline way in the future, the original series, maybe with Daryl and a few of the others that are still around after that second time jump. And then the characters like Rick, for example, that kind of disappear or are not in the after part of the time jump in the original Walking Dead, maybe go into a different spin-off or Fear or something. I don't know. That part gets into crazy theories, right? Movies and whatnot. So we'll see. But again, we'll save the rest for tomorrow, where you guys can vote. I'll do a poll, and we'll go through and we'll vote on, after all the information, which side are we on right now? Are we on the side convinced Rick is going to be killed? Or are we on the side thinking that he actually is going to leave in the helicopter or something? And that's why Andrew Lincoln said in that interview that, his relationship with the character is far from over. And then kind of started to say what it sounded like was there's lots more stuff coming for Rick in the future. But then cut it off with the kind of the spoiler, it doesn't want to say anything more than that. But, because that sounds like spinoff, right, is the deal with that. So, who knows, man? Maybe that's what they are going to do, because Gimple has been working on other series. They did say, like last year, he's got Fear, he's got the original series, and I've given my thoughts on this a few times. I don't know if you want to add on another one. You're going to water it down, I think, if you have 3 Walking Dead shows. But who knows, man? Maybe the idea was like too attractive to them to try to do some other kind of additional thing and pull Rick out of The Walking Dead and have him leave and have him go into either another spinoff or something else to get even more Walking Dead content all year round or something. I have no idea. We'll see, man. They did it with Morgan, so and before that was announced, people would have said that would never happen. Like if someone had said they're going to cross over Morgan, he's going to go to Fear, they're going to kill off most of the Fear crew, and Morgan's going to take over Fear. Everyone would have said, no, that's not going to happen. No way, right? Like there's no way in hell they would ever do that. And That just happens to be exactly what they did. The meteorological eclipse has a Q&A, Trev. The Rick leaving but Shane appearing is a tricky concept to work out. Rick isn't going to end up seeing Shane and then merrily go off to go find Morgan. It doesn't add up. What do you think of my theory? Rick gets injured in either two ways. One, a fight with another community member, or two, bitten by a walker. Then while Rick is struggling, the helicopter takes Rick off. And he does, here's the kicker. Let's say Rick was actually bitten by a whisperer, not a zombie, and that would be kind of the reveal later on, is that he survives the bite because maybe he was fighting a whisperer and the whisperer ended up biting him at some point. Maybe like he did with Joe, the Claimers, if you guys remember that. So that's a cool idea, meteorological eclipse. I never really thought about that one. That's interesting. Rick takes several years off, and we all think he's dead. Then he comes back in like season 12 or 13 for what will be the biggest troll job in the history of television. So, who knows, man? I mean, you know, something like that. If you buy into the whole he's not done with Rick thing, and he was about to spoil it, so he stopped talking during that comicbook.com interview. But a lot of people are saying that it just, you know, the thing about it is, though, it's so weird about that one. Like I said yesterday in my video, and I'm still feeling that way even after I saw everyone's comments. Is like he cuts himself off because he gets into spoiler territory. The thing with spoiler territory is that it's always to do with the future. So when you're talking about spoiling something in the future, it's really like something is going to happen with that character, and you don't want to spoil it, so you don't say anything, right? And with regards to the Rick situation and that interview right there, as he says that you know, his relationship with Rick is far from over, and then he goes to one, and then he cuts it, right? He cuts it off. Watch it. It's in my video. He cuts it because he knows he's not supposed to say it. And I think JDF was kind of looking at him like he does this, right? Whenever you see people do that, it's because they're trying not to say it. They're trying to stop themselves from saying something, right? It's a sign of like aggression with regards to trying to keep their mouth shut. So watch it back, man. If you don't believe me, watch it back. And some people say, "Well, you're just looking at it too much, Trev." He means that he'll come to Comic-Con every year in the future and this kind of thing. And maybe, but based on that one, it sounded like he was getting into spoilers, so he stopped talking about it. Which would fit in with the leaving idea 100%, or a spin-off idea, totally. Yeah, man, it's cool. So we'll do a couple more. Patty Natel says, I don't think it matters who or how. I don't know if I can take seeing Rick die. So I know, man, it's a crazy one. If they just simply kill him off, it's going to be nuts. And maybe that's why, you know, these kind of theories about him leaving, this kind of thing, are so attractive. But if you do think about it, too, it's like, would you kill Rick off in the show? You know, is there no way they could work out some kind of contract extension or a spinoff for him, and then he leaves and something else happens? Is it really just as simple as they're just simply killing him off? And if that's the case, why is he saying in that interview that his time of the part is far from over? You know, it's just his relationship with the part is far from over. I don't know, man. Tough one, man, for sure, right? So maybe, I don't know. Next one is, I believe Michonne finds Lucille and realizes Negan has escaped. So I hope so. You guys know me, right? I hope Negan escapes. You know, I hope JDM escapes. That'll be awesome. And, you know, that's one thing, too. We still have Negan. But how does that fit in with a time skip? I just have no goddamn idea, man. This is crazy. So, wow. B-Wolf20 says, have you seen the Comic-Con panel yet, Trev? Regis mentioned smiling, crying for an emotional scene. It definitely feels like a confirmation that Rick will die, as opposed to just not being on screen, like some theories keep suggesting. I think it suggests that Daryl might have been there to witness the death, however it happens. Well, there could be some other deaths as well, too. Don't forget, Lauren Cohan is leaving. Now, Angela Kang had said that Lauren Cohan will be, so this is interesting, right? She said that the door will be open if she wants to return as Maggie in the future. She said about Rick that, or she didn't really say much about him. So she said that for her. For Rick, she didn't really say that he would be able to come back. It made it sound like she didn't. I'd have to look at the exact quotes, but I did a video on it a couple weeks ago. So is it possible that she did an old switcheroo, and she said, for Maggie, the door being left open, but she knows Maggie's getting killed. So she said the opposite, and then Rick will be the one that has the door left open. So I think it's one way or the other. I don't think they're going to kill them both. I think either they're going to kill, Maggie off and leave the door open for Rick, or they're going to kill Rick off and leave the door open for Maggie. Which one it is, unfortunately, we can't say. The trailer didn't give us enough, I don't think, to say. But I've seen a lot of people in comments say that they'll kill Maggie off and that they'll leave the door open for Rick to return. So maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. We'll see, man. Saints Row said, if Chandler was still around, Andy would have stayed. We'll see. We'll see, man. We'll see what they have planned here, what they have as far as the ideas go. We do know that Scott Gimple has been working on other things for Walking Dead for AMC. So they haven't announced anything yet, but I would not be surprised if there's some other kind of spinoff or something down the pipe, and we see something afterwards. Or the idea of a Walking Dead movie, I think, is so cool, man. And I'm sure people would pay to go see it. I think they would. The only thing about this whole kind of concept of having Rick leave the original Walking Dead series, it's super risky and kind of crazy, because it would weaken the original Walking Dead, right, in order to strengthen something else. So if you put them in Fear, it weakens the original series to strengthen Fear, right? But then you get 32 episodes of Walking Dead in 1 year. So maybe they, that's pretty attractive too, to be like, hey, we can double our episode count. If we take from here and we put here, then this will probably go down a bit, but this will pump, and then we'll have 32 episodes straight through of Walking Dead. That's a lot. Or some of the other ideas for some things that are going on there. So let's wait to see what happens here. If Andrew Lincoln, if Rick Grimes is killed off, then I do think maybe that the Carl death had something to do with it. But it's hard for us to say right now, because after watching the interview, it really makes me think like he cut himself off because he was about to say something he's not supposed to say. So, that's the thing, man. That's the thing. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. And if you like today's video, please don't forget to thumb it up below. You can also share, you can favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to subscribe, check out the Travis Tan 2 store. Link will be in the description. You can get your very own Trigan shirt or Travis Tan 2 shirt. Help support the channel, guys. That's how you can do it. Especially if you like the videos all this weekend, that's what you can do to pay me back for it. Buy a shirt. So for this one, guys, we'll see you again soon for another. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.